Hi chaps, it's Rob again, and it's a happy day today. I'm happy because I finally got my rings for the Ruger and for the K31. They came today through the post, ordered from the States, and it took 2 weeks. Originally I ordered from a German company in mid-May, can you believe? Today is the 6th of July. So in mid-May I ordered more or less the same set of rings from a German company, and they're still not here. So now that these have arrived, I've cancelled one of them, one of the rings. That's the Weaver. And I'm waiting for something like this one. This is a Boris, and the one that's coming is, or the one I hope the German company will finally send me, is from Sun Optics. Okay, so this is, they're both very low. This is 1/4 inch high, this one too. And what we're going to do now is going to put these on the Ruger 1022, or at least I think I'm going to put the Weaver on the Ruger 1022. So that's what we're going to do next. I'll see you later. Okay, so here we are back. I've got the trusty Ruger just out of view here, waiting for the new rings. The scope is still on it. And here's the pack with those Weaver rings. And we're just going to open it. That's probably easier said than done. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to need my trusty Swiss Army knife. I can't use brute force. So, Swiss Army knife is coming out. Let's slice and dice just to get into this packet. They certainly do make them good these days, and there we go. Luckily my Swiss Army knife is very sharp. So there we go, there's some rings. And that's a bunch of screws, which I hope you can just see. So rings and more rings and a bunch of screws. So let's have a look at putting them together. Ah, okay, separately packed, that's nice. And so it looks like this is going to take a little bit longer than I was bargaining for. So that's the lower claw, as it were. Here's the screw with the Weaver locking part. Here's the nut which goes on the edge, and here's the claw which fits on the rail. So it just needs a little bit of assembly. And by the looks of things, this is the way it goes. Claw on this side. I wonder if there's going to be an RTFM issue. No, it looks like that's going to be okay. It's seeming to fit quite nicely. So that's the lower part. Can you see that? Let's zoom in. So what I've done is I've fitted the little claw that goes on the side and fitted the bolt. There you go. See that? Get the light on it there you go. So fitted the bolt here, fitted the claw, and that's the lower part now. So I need to do that to the other one, and let's do that straight away. So that's the lower part. Bolt through here. Claw, the largest part of the claw, the larger part of the claw goes on the rail, and the nut. Yeah, here we go. See that? So we've got the claw, we've got the bolt, and we've got the nut here. So there we go. And that was that way around, which I presume is how they were machined. And this one, I really don't know. I think it was also that way around. Now we've got the hex screws, 6 for each ring. And I will just make these available, but won't actually put them in for the moment, because we're going to need to put the lower parts on the Ruger. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm removing I've got some Torx bit adapter on here, and I'm just removing these screws here which are holding this scope on. And first of all I undid one, then the opposite, diagonally opposite, and then moved to the next one, and then the other diagonally opposite one. So and I will be doing the same, using the same technique to tighten them, and we'll also be using the new Wheeler torque driver, but of course we don't need that to undo them. So that's the top part plus screws. That's one diagonal. Next diagonal. Next diagonal, that was quite loose. And next diagonal. And so, let's spin that. Here we go. That's undone. And this one, that's also undone. And this one. And this one. Okay. Put that one out of the way. And now we can lift the scope off. Indeed we can. So I'll put that out of the way on something soft where it can't roll, and then we can take off the base part. So that's, I've already got my driver on here. It's coming off fairly well. I think I didn't put them on too hard last time. And this one, there we go. So let's put this base piece on now, and I'm going to have the bolt on this side, because on this side I've got the charging handle, as you know. Let's see how far we can get this back for it to fit correctly. There we go. Not there, but here. with that? I think so. Just finger tight for the moment. And here we go again. Never had Weaver rings as a rings made by Weaver before, and so they're quite behaving quite differently from the ones that I'm used to, in that, if you can see this, the when you're putting it together, the screw just wants to come out. There you go. So let's see, is that on all the way? That is there, and I think that's going to be our position. Now, if I remember correctly, the rear of the scope comes to about here. So let's see if we can get it to sit around there. Yes, I think that's going to be about right. So we're quite lucky that it's something like that. To get it set up later, I shall be using the level of from Wheeler. I think it is. And here you can see what a tight fit it is. Oh, I hope you can see that. Let me bring you down a bit. See you in a second. Okay, so now we've brought the camera down a little bit. You can see what I mean about a much lower fit. Here we've just got a couple of millimeters between the barrel and the outside of the scope, and that's exactly the effect I was looking for. So yeah, I will be really very pleased. Perhaps I'm going to have to take some of the padding out of the cheek rest, but that's that's also a good thing. So see you in a second, and we'll go back to looking at the fitting of the rings. Okay, so here we are back again, and what I've got now is I think more or less the right eye position. And so I'm just going to put these on and fix them kind of finger tight, because of course we have to set up the rifle with the rings being the crosshair being horizontal, which at the moment we have no idea if it is or not. So we have to level the receiver, we have to then level the scope, and that's going to be the name of the game. Okay, so let's have a look to see if we can get these torques to fit. Yes, looks like they will fit. And I'm going to just put in the center ones lightly for the moment. These are very nicely machined, I must say. Thank you very much, Mr. Weaver. And I want to stop the scope from being able to fall off. And I'm just going to put these in really not even finger tight, because we need to be able to rotate the scope slightly left or slightly anti-clockwise or slightly clockwise, just to make sure that it's on the level, as it were. And that's the key word. We're going to be using the tool called level, which is in my gunsmithing case of tools, tool case. So there we go, that's finger tight, and now I will need to have a quick look and see if the cheek or the eye relief is about right. I think it might be. It's looking good, I would say. Knowing this rifle, and then we'll get on to leveling the receiver and leveling the scope. Okay, so see you in a second. Okay, so I was rather too hasty, as you might see, and because now I've had to remove the scope again, because I couldn't fit my level that belongs to the level set. That's this thing here from Wheeler. I couldn't fit it on the scope rail underneath the rings, because as you can see it's a bit higher. So what I've had to do is to put it on the I've had to put it on the take the scope off and use the Wheeler level on the Picatinny rail, and if I press down here, you'll be able to see if I can get it, that the bubble is not quite centralized. I thought I had done that. Yeah, I have to go back to square one, I think. So, see what I mean. Okay, so here we are. It's a bit Heath Robinson, for those of you who know what that means. And what I've done here is now I've got the barrel level, more or less. And what I'm going to do now is to look at the horizontal alignment. Well, we could do that way. And there I can see, for example, let's move you a bit in, hopefully we can see that. Well, let me take you off the stand. So, excuse the wobbling. So what we've got now is, can you see that? We've got the spirit level, which is not quite in the horizontal position, and so what we're going to do now is fiddle with the tripod setting, the lock for the swivel, until it is level. And I'll just do that now. I won't show you on camera because it's rather fiddly, and then I'll be back in a I'll be back in a second. So hopefully what you can see now is that we've got the bubble pretty much centred, and that is now a good basis to start with levelling the scope. So now I'm going to take that off and put the scope on. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got the scope on the sitting in the cradle of the ring, the lower part of the rings, and we've got the spirit level where the bubble is definitely in the center. So now I have to screw down the rings, the top parts, and make sure that that doesn't wander off center. So that's the next bit. Catch you later. Okay, so it's back to putting these ring upper parts on. I'm just placing them on under their own weight for the moment. I must say they're very nicely machined. Weaver, of course, being a very reputable name. And the center screw of this 6 screw combination is on there, and now I shall be just getting these down until they're more or less on the right with just finger tension. And of course, when you're putting rings on, you want to make sure that the gap between the upper and the lower ring is more or less the same. And that's one of the things to look for. These are going on very nicely. There we go. And this one too. How is the spirit level doing this? Good. Nice and centered. And the same we do here. And then get this more or less finger tight. And the same as the other side. I think I need to back that off actually. A little bit. And then this one. Back that off a little bit. Tighten this one a little bit. Tighten this one a little bit. So how are we looking? Just checking the gaps. Can't quite see this one. The front. Yeah, I think we're looking good. Let's just tighten this one a little spot. Same tension on this one. Same on this one. Same on this one. Same on this one. Same on this one. It's just taking it about a quarter of, not even that, maybe a 16th or a 1/8 of a turn each time. And let's see how it looks. It's looking good through the scope. Yeah, and this one. I think we've wandered a little bit off centre. Let me undo them all. How are we doing? We're still a tiny fraction, I would say. That's better. I really had to rotate it maybe a degree, and we can try again. Just getting them ever so slightly finger tight in the beginning, ever so slightly finger tight. It's really a task which does take time, but it's worth taking the time to get those gaps symmetrical and make sure they're not pulling the tube round. How are we doing for the gap here? Oh, there's much bigger. Oh yeah. So there I've got a little gap which I'm going to try and close. And this one, yeah, the gaps are looking good now. The bubble is looking nicely central. I'm applying still nicely central the bubble. I'm being careful not to press hard down because that might cause the swivel to swivel. Oh, we're looking good. So these are getting nice and firm, and I don't think that tube is going to go anywhere now. So we'll have to now have a look at setting up some torque on the rest of the screws. But first I'll just put them in place with no force on them. It's always good practice to work in diagonals. These screws are looking really nice. Much nicer than the no-name Chinese rings I had before. It's a very nice quality product, this Weaver ring set. So how are we looking? I think I will just go back to this one now, finish this one off, getting them all finger tight. Just finger tight. Last pair of screws to go in. Let's start this side for a change. And then that's the last one to go in. Bubble is still nicely central, and I don't think it's going to be going anywhere now. So, I think the next thing is to get the torque driver out, and so that's going to be just the next section. See you in a second. Okay, so we've got the Wheeler digital torque wrench out. It's set now to 15. I think it's about 15 foot-pounds, although I have to say it seems to beep at 12. This one I've just done, and I'm going to start doing now the front ring. We're still looking very good on the spirit level, so I'll start tightening these up now, doing the opposite ones. And now the diagonal front and back ones. My big arm's in the way, I suppose. Yeah. And this one is still a bit loose. And let's go for this diagonal last. Very good. So that's 12. That's 12. 12. 12. And the last one's in the middle. 12. 12. So I'm very happy about that now. We've done, we've got the rings nice and tight now, and what we're just going to do is these here. I'm going to use the bit driver and be using this, the wheeler, be using this 1/2" nut driver rather, not bit driver, nut driver. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so here we are again. I've got the nut driver fitted to the Wheeler digital firearm accurizing tool, or FAT wrench, and I've set it now to 20 foot-pounds, and that's the force that I'm going to apply to the mounting nuts on these Weaver wings. There we go, beep beep beep, and beep beep beep. So that seems to be quite a nice tension. However, I feel that there is still some room in there for increasing the tension. I'm very tempted to wind that up to 30. No, I think we'll stay with 20. I think that's going to be enough for the moment. And now it's time to have a look. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So now I'm going to pick the rifle up and have a look. So catch you in a second. Okay, so here we are. This is the Ruger 1022 with now the low rings. My height budget calculation paid off, as you can just see. I've got about maybe 1 millimeter now between, or yeah, 1.5 millimeters between the outer ring of the scope and the barrel. I've got now the 15 MOA scope rail here, Picatinny rail here, and I've got the low rings here. Because this is a 15 MOA rail, it's actually slightly lower than I calculated for here, but that still works very well. I've got all the rings screws torqued down, 12 foot-pounds on these Torx screws, and these ones are at 20 foot-pounds. I've held the rifle and looked to see if what looks to me like level gives the vertical crosshair lining up with doorways and stuff, and that looks good. I'm not going to change anything about the padding here. My cheek seems to be squashy enough for me to get a repeatable and comfortable cheek weld, so I'm going to keep that as is, and really I can't wait to shoot it. It's now of course all the other mods you're aware of. The BX25 trigger, the auto bolt lock, which is now very, very free, so working very well. The low scope rings, the rail, which I've changed. At the moment the bolt is the same, but we've got the new Sniper Systems bipod on there. So we're looking good, and I'm really looking forward to shooting this rifle, my 1022 target. So I think, having said that, this is a good place to stop, and I'll catch you later. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, you know, thumbs up. If you aren't already, please subscribe, because that's a real great honour. That's what I feel anyway. And I'll try and keep new content coming to you. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one. Bye.